3 clinic with Bill Muller, the ODP head coach, Olympic Development Program head coach, coaching this week. Last week we had Antoine Shreve. Antoine is a 2-time youth world medalist in 29ers. We got Hans Hankin working with the 49ers. They'll be out later. Hans Hankin, the bronze medalist in Paris Olympics in the 49ers here down here. We are tapering off for the Olympic Classes Regatta this weekend in the 29ers. It's day 3. Been training hard for a lot of weeks. Getting ready for the Nationals in San Francisco, July 11, 12, 13. And these guys have been training very hard. But today, the day before regatta, you tend to taper off. You sail less time. You get into your recovery. When you get in, you eat, drink, stretch a little, go through all your final boat checks, and so a little shorter day today, which is smart. The reason why we are going out is that the conditions today are going to be very similar to the weekend. Swells, lightish winds, 8 to 12 tomorrow. 7 to 11, maybe 12, maybe 13, I hope. Today won't need that out there, but it looks pretty nice. So again, just tapering off for the regatta, and they're doing some drills out there. And my last public service announcement is when you're towing, 29ers are harder to tow in because the centerboard creates so much lift when you get going fast that the thing will just take off and capsize. But you've got to release the jib. You got to be able to ease the jib. So that's my public service announcement. When you're on a tow, if you don't ease the jib with the increased wind that I'm creating with speed, that thing will just flip you right over. And then the centerboard's so big that when you heel over, it starts to lift off, and then that makes the boat capsize also. Okay, day 3. This is about our starboard tack angle downwind, the direction I'm going. I can still feel wind at this angle. If I go lower, I'm gonna feel less wind. Yeah. And then you have to get in sync with the swells. So they're gonna go really flat right now at the top of the swell. And then watch, when they drop in this little trough in here, you're gonna see them yield to lure. Watch, here they are. They're in the trough. They get wind. Then they get to the top of the swell. They never really got it that time, right? So you've got to figure out upwind and downwind, which tack is easier, which tack is harder. You got to practice the harder one against people. Because a lot of people get steering all over the place, upwind and downwind. Again, this is gotten ahead a little bit. This is about our angle, so. Comes the swell right now. 3, 2, 1, heel to windward. See that? That's because the swell is moving that way at whatever speed. 4 knots, 5 knots, 6 knots. I am the mark, and we're going to study 2 things. So that's the white kite got 3rd at Ida Lewis. The kite beyond them, you can't see them right now. Also the windward white kite, they won the Ida Lewis last year. So we're watching, how are they doing their body movement? Looks like the skippers are moving a lot and the crews are not. And these guys are our youngest team. Savage sailors. Oh, several of these kids are still Savage sailors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 6 you see in there are still in the Naples Savage. See how they go? Oop, oh, beautiful little dive. Oh. Nice. Oh, yeah, the skipper of this boat, still in a Naples Savage. Sean won the Bemis Trophy last year, boys double-handed. He got second at Savage Nationals, and then 3 weeks later won the Bemis. So, what I'm going to ask them when they get down here, yeah, see how the skippers move more than the crew? I do it the opposite. I have the crew do most, but I don't have a leg to stand on because all the world's best teams, a lot of them have the skipper moving. Yeah, you see how Julia gets up on her feet? Yeah. Some people put their right knee down, Mickey Mouse position. And I'm going to ask them about the swells. Which tack is easier? I think port tack is easier. Port tack is going way closer. Again, watch what the crews are doing. Oh boy, look at that. A little. Coast, 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 turn, bam. Borelli soak, soak. They don't want to go up because it shifts the apparent wind forward. They might as well just soak. Maribel didn't get the spinnaker out when she did that. That's okay, she's allowed one mistake. Okay, I think starboard is much harder. Starboard is much harder. Because see how the swell, watch, they're gonna go flat. 61's gonna go flat right now, lose wind. Whoop, flat, light air. Then they're gonna drop down into the trough. They're gonna get more power right now. Girls look very similar. You see how the skipper has to bounce a little. Okay, so swells again. Here we go. I'm gonna try to guess. Puff through here, light spot, 3, 2, 1. That's caused by the swell moving you to leeward. Light spot. So she's doing a great job. She keeps the boat heeled to leeward a fraction through the light spots. And we got the guest crew today. Owen Fretwell, second place Snipe Nationals this year, 17 years old, right behind Augie Diaz. So he skippered, him and Colin Krebs, is total stud snipe team. They've been sailing snipe since they were like 4. With their dads. So Owen Fretwell crewing for Sean today, jib's a little loose. We're gonna see if it's luffing at the top, man. Those little guys are going pretty good with a intensity jib there, you know, the Dacron feeder jibs. Whoa! That was so fast. Way better. Kind of a better set. That was a good set. Hans working with Braden and Holland. Still on the 29er team. But getting into the 49er. the leeward mark drill. 30 seconds on port, 30 seconds on starboard. I'm not sure what happened there. I mean 1 minute on port, 1 minute on starboard. Yep, so the leeward mark drill is 1 minute on port, 1 minute on starboard, hoist the spinnaker, race back to the leeward mark. And so that is a drill that practices a lot of things, but it is especially good a wind shift drill because you notice the different angles as you come around, especially coming around the leeward mark. That time she was on about a 20 to 15 degree lefty compared to her first upwind. Okay, and then they'll head downwind here in a little bit. Good, good. She's trying to do the more heated, little hotter set because they were hardwired to turn way down, get the kite to collapse. I mean, get the wind behind them, hoist, and then head back up. And right now, what we're doing is we're getting ready for the regatta tomorrow by ourselves, and we're just trying to get our boat handling wired right now for the first couple races. We do not want to go out and take 3 races to kind of get good at the tacks and jives. We want to put ourselves in that mindset right now. Little bit of a whip it again. Gotta kind of try to carve through the jives a little. We'll work on that this weekend, where you start to carve down slow. But the good news is I think you hit the lay line really good. Now, one thing we're practicing is the kill the kite, which is to rip the retriever line and let the sheet off. When it's really windy, we pull the retriever line really hard and let the sheet out. Sometimes the skipper pulls the retriever line and hands it to the crew, who's still out. And the crew then comes in and blows the spinnaker halyard and drops. In light air, it's not as important. Heavy air, it's a really good thing to do by turning the spinnaker inside out before you drop it. Kills the power in it, so it's easier to pull in. Okay, they don't really know this, but the current is against them. So late takedowns when the current is against you downwind. I do already know the current for San Francisco, and there are going to be times late in the day. Let's say that it's light in the morning and then builds late and it's late in the day. There's going to be, the current's going to be ebbing at the end of, I think, the first day especially. Okay, clinic over. Clinic over. San Diego OCR this weekend. Small regatta, but still really good clinic regatta type stuff. Cool. The current is going that way really hard. I'll go ahead and turn a little right at it. It's way weaker over here than it is on the other side. We're gonna go look at this buoy. The current is really weak, but you can see me going right to left just a little bit if you look at the building behind. Yeah, and it's way weaker on this side of the bay than the other. So the day before the regatta, if the conditions are going to be totally different, then you don't go out. You don't need to go out that long necessarily, but you know, if the conditions are going to be similar, it's really good to get out and just get your boat handling nailed. Now, if you get a twist that does not come out, you jive, okay? I mean, unless it's just stupid to jive for the tactics, but if you get a twist and it won't come out, you're yanking the thing back and forth, you ease the halyard a couple inches, doesn't come out, you jive. and jibe back, and the thing will come right out, or jibe and it'll come right out. He's got his mane tighter than her. About, not much. On the jibe, you flatten the boat. The boat gets lee helm when you flatten it all the way. And then you carve straight downwind. See how he coasts, coasts, coasts? Then he turns up, bam. Yeah, okay, ladies. That was pretty nice. See, we just start working on being ready for the first races. We don't want to have 2 or 3 bad tacks, 2 or 3 bad jibes, and then all of a sudden we figure it out. We're trying to have good tacks and jibes right away. Now the current's against them. This is more going to be a San Francisco Nationals thing, but if it gets light and the current's against you, you got to do extra late takedowns. Was a good tack. If the boat can keep moving through the tack and you can keep flow over the boards, then you don't have to reestablish flow. You reestablish flow with the flattening, but if you're good at steering, the boat keeps moving, you'll keep flow over the boards that way. I do think, you know, this weekend and as we get into more regattas, more practice, we gotta work on staying on our feet when you switch sides, just working on, you know, the boat turns under your feet and you're just tiptoeing. You're trying to barely have your weight on the boat. You're just tiptoeing across the boat as it spins under your feet. So you kind of have to have what we call in soccer happy feet. When we're training people, we teach them happy feet, where they stand there and they keep their feet moving fast, like they're running in place almost. You kind of just run in place a little and just let the boat turn under your feet. Looks like Sophia's coming out ahead. I think she overstood by a little, but she's got a lot more speed coming into it this time than she did last time, so maybe that was the thing to do. Oops. Yeah, you kind of dance across the boat. I think that was a steering problem. I'm not sure what it was. There's something wrong about how the boat came to windward afterwards. I think we just switched sides too fast. Here she's doing that same low first and then coming up. But that was good. She's watching. We're getting way better at that. Getting way better at that, is looking at the boats behind that. You know, after a couple days now, all of a sudden all the little mistakes we made are starting to make it so that we're not, and there's way less current here. See how there's hardly any movement here? Make sure you don't let that thing luff. Okay, so then the way you create lee helm when you want to jibe is you slowly heel the boat to windward and you keep the kite where it is. Oh, they just made a big game. We're gonna see if she does it. The skipper leans out, gets the boat flat, barely pulls the tiller towards him, and the boat will rotate itself down by itself. The rudder just follows the boat. They gained a lot here because Sean's gonna have to come back again. Okay, let's see if they do it. They're going too far. They're gonna come in like capsizing. Whoop. Oh, that was a whip it. So that time she put the rudder over like 1.5 feet instead of like 7 inches. When you heel the boat to windward downwind, the spinnaker will drag the bow right through a jibe. You don't even, I mean, you're barely putting the tiller over. Okay, she called a good lay line. Heading in.